On this Sunday night here in Fredericton, family and friends of the fallen are speaking out about their loss and the day that everything changed.
Why him? Why take a good man? Why take away two kids' father?
United in their grief and in asking why would someone open fire on a couple seemingly just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the officers who just came to their aid. We will bring you their stories, the lives they lived, and the city standing strong behind them.
Also tonight, a year after race-fueled violence struck Charlottesville, white nationalists are shouted down. And just how does someone with no training steal and then fly a passenger plane? The bizarre and tragic story raising serious questions about airport security and screening.
This is The National. We are just outside the Fredericton Police Department this evening. This has become the scene of a growing memorial for the victims of Friday's deadly shooting, two of them sworn police officers. This is becoming a place for people to gather. They're bringing cards and flowers, kids' drawings of police officers as superheroes. Today, the Prime Minister joined them. What is happening here is, as the shock gives way, hunger for some explanation moves in. So tonight, we will walk through what we know about the suspect and the investigation. We'll show you how the community is resolving to carry on, even holding its annual Pride Parade. And before he attended a Pride event, Justin Trudeau met with members of the police force and some of the victims' families today. So let's begin with those families tonight. 4 people who died so brutally just 2 days ago. Rob Costello and Sarah Burns were dedicated first responders, committed to simply keeping their fellow citizens safe. Bobby Lee Wright was a quiet young woman who loved her friends and her new boyfriend, Donnie Robichaud. He enjoyed motorcycles, music, and his kids.
He never took it off on the road.
A slightly bloodied Harley-Davidson dog tag is a terrible memento to hang on to, but Melissa Robichaud won't let it go. Her ex-husband, Donnie Robichaud, was wearing it when he was killed Friday morning.
To me, he was a very tall, handsome man, tattoos, piercings, very attractive. I was proud to walk around with him on my arm, very proud. That was the biggest. He was strong, he was protective, he just a good man.
They'd only broken up months ago, but were close. She'd planned to pick up their kids at the apartment that morning, happened to get them the night before.
I was supposed to be there outside with them.
Do you feel like you missed a disaster narrowly?
Not so much me. I feel like my kids could have been shot.
Understandably, people have been thinking a lot about timing. Last-minute, innocent, mundane calls that put all 4 victims at that apartment complex at that time. Robichaud was on the early shift at an auto parts store Friday. Life was working out. He'd moved into the Brookside apartment a few months ago. Recently, he'd started dating Bobby Lee Wright. He normally left the apartment early, but his cousin says Friday was a bit different.
He was going on vacation. Him and Bobby were going away, just to get away and, have some fun.
Pack the car, drop right at a friend's, then head to work was the intent. But then came the gunfire. Their bodies were found near the car. One witness said Robichaud was still holding a bag. Those shots sparked calls to police. Rob Costello, Sarah May Burns were at the station. Burns, her friend Brian Jones says, didn't have to go out.
She was just getting off shift, 7 o'clock's the change shift, and she had forgot something in her car, so she went back to the car and they used the same car. So Rob, the other officer that passed away, he was in the car next. And when she was getting in the car to get her stuff, the call came in, so she decided to go with him. I mean, she could have easily said, you can go, I'm going home, but that's not who she was.
A woman determined to follow a dream of being a police officer, even though it meant starting in her late 30s. She was dedicated to protecting women from violence. If you expect rage, Brian Jones says the family hasn't been talking about the suspect.
I think people realize that, there's a lot of people that are hurting out there. and have problems and issues and need to talk to people, and that's one of the things that Sarah was working towards.
You sound almost more empathetic than angry.
Definitely empathetic.
Sean Callahan's mindset is different. He is furious with the alleged shooter.
I seen the guy in the hospital yesterday being wheeled by me in a bed.
What was that like?
What did I want to do? It was, yeah, you know what I wanted to do. It wasn't nice, it wasn't good.
He's been carrying around Robichaud's 20-year-old base.
And I'm gonna put the ashes in this, I'm gonna seal it, I'm gonna bury him with this. This is his casket right here.
There is no explaining this yet. Now is for coping however they can.
Now, Bobby Lee Wright's family isn't ready to talk yet, but Constable Rob Costello's widow, Jackie McLean, did choose to speak only to our colleagues at CBC New Brunswick. So here's some of what she shared earlier this evening.
He really wanted to make sure that I knew what I was getting into by being with someone in law enforcement. But I knew that this could happen. We had a couple of rules in our relationship. The first rule was no dying, and he promised me that he was never going to die. And the other thing was that he always told me that no matter what happened on the job, that he would always come home. And that's the hardest part for me right now. It's that he hasn't come home. I haven't even had a chance to see him yet. To me, that's like, he hasn't come home yet. I'm sure that he will be remembered very fondly. He was the best person that I've ever known, and he really was. He had an extraordinary moral compass. He was extraordinarily generous. He made me want to be a better person. And it's so very difficult for me to realize that I don't have that anymore. And I've heard from many of his colleagues that he will be so fondly remembered. And one of the things that Rob always said is that if something ever happened to him, he didn't want us to cry. And so I've been trying really hard not to. But that he wanted us to remember him for how funny he was and all the good times that we had together.
Constable Rob Costello leaves behind 4 children. Now, Jackie McLean says he was most proud of the kids, the adults they were growing up to be, and the work he did every day. Constable Costello and Constable Sarah Mae Burns will be honored in a regimental funeral next Saturday here in Fredericton. As for the suspect in the shooting, well, police still haven't told us much of anything at all about Matthew Vincent Raymond. So what do we know? That's why Kayla Hounsell is joining us now with that. Kayla, what can you tell us?
Well, Adrian, so far police have only told us his name, Matthew Vincent Raymond, that he's 48 years old and from Fredericton. They haven't even said whether he is known to police. They have charged him with 4 counts of first-degree murder, and they say he is in serious but stable condition after being shot by police.
So that's the official word from police. Have we been able to confirm anything else about him?
Most of what we know about Raymond so far comes from Judith Aguilar. Now, she's the office manager for the building complex where Raymond lived, which is also where the shooting took place. She says that he's lived there for 4 months, that as far as she knows, he was living there alone, and he would come into her office to pay his rent in person, and when he did that, he seemed very pleasant and friendly, making small talk. She calls him utterly normal and says he did not seem like a disturbed individual in any way.
There's always so much more to this. Is it odd in a way that there isn't more information at this point?
It is, and it's partially because, as far as we can determine, Raymond has no online footprint, so no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter that we can find. We also haven't been able to dig up a photo of him that we can confirm for sure is him, so that means the only physical description of him also comes from that building manager. She says that he is in good shape, that he cycled everywhere he went, and when he came into her office, he would be wearing his helmet and sunglasses and actually seemed quite proud of his bicycle, telling her how expensive it was. And I should mention, Adrian, that police still haven't confirmed whether there is any connection between the suspect and the victims.
That's such a big question. Kayla, thank you very much. So as you heard, here not many answers about the suspect yet, which frustrates many people here in Fredericton. Police here have asked people not to speculate, but that might just be tough considering the information they have released is sparse and sometimes incomplete. So here's what remains unclear.
We can confirm that it was a long gun that was used. The shooter was in an elevated position.
A long gun. That could be anything from a hunting rifle to a shotgun, even an assault rifle. And so where did it come from? Was it legally obtained? And how did he learn to shoot it accurately from an upstairs apartment to the courtyard below? We know in very general terms how events played out, but when did the officers arrive? Were they immediately targeted? Were they wearing full ballistic vests? What other protections did they have? And then there's the question so many are grappling with tonight, the motive. Why did this happen? It doesn't seem that the suspect, Matthew Vincent Raymond, was known to police here. It doesn't appear he knew the victims either. So what motivated the shooting?
We don't have any further information at this time to share about the suspect, but as soon as we have information to share, we will.
No clear answers. Not yet. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was in Fredericton today offering condolences to first responders affected by the shooting. He also met privately with the families of the two officers who were killed.
I talked to their kids and highlighted that something that I had experienced was that when you have a whole community and indeed a whole country supporting you through terrible grief, it actually does make it a little bit easier, not much easier, but a little bit easier, and to draw strength on this extraordinary community that has come out and supported through actions, through words, and we'll be there to support them through the coming weeks and months and years.
So afterwards, Justin Trudeau laid flowers right here at the Growing Memorial outside the police station. His visit to the city was scheduled long before the shooting took place for Fredericton's Pride celebrations, and they went ahead today. As Brett Ruskin tells us, the parade became a much-needed chance to move past the anguish and try to start the healing.
Amid the outfits and dancers, the biggest cheers today were for the police officers in the parade. Among those officers was Constable John Daly, but he had doubts about taking part.
I had difficulties with the concept of a parade today. How can I march? How can I parade? And my wife, God bless her, she told me, she said, John, it's days like this that you must parade.
With some support, he decided to march, and he did so wearing the black and blue ribbon, one he's worn before to honor other officers killed in the line of duty.
It hits me so deeply, it's difficult to express it.
Also marching today was retired RCMP Inspector Michelle Martin.
There was discussion about putting off or postponing the parade. But as a crew, we came together and thought that would be a really good way of commemorating it to the fallen officers.
Mixing that commemoration with the spirit of pride seems to be helping.
I think it's very useful for healing for the community, yeah.
Rather than staying at home and watching the events on TV, I'd rather be here where we're all feeling the distress from Friday, but this is uplifting.
It's certainly heartbreaking, but our lives go on, and we're not going to be stopped by the foolish acts of one person.
Horrible acts that left 4 people dead. So while today's mood was one of celebration, there's still a long road to walk before the city's wounds are healed. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Fredericton.
And Rosie, we'll have more from Fredericton and a special tribute for officers here later in the hour. But now you have the day's other top stories.
I sure do, Adrienne. Thank you for that. A year after the shocking violence and hate in Charlottesville, white nationalists found themselves severely outnumbered at their own event in Washington. About 24 people showed up to what they had billed as a Unite the Right to rally. They were led by this man, Jason Kessler, who also organized last year's event in Charlottesville. That rally claimed the life of anti-racism protester Heather Heyer and stoked racial tensions. As Thomas Degla reports, today the turnout in the U.S. Capitol was decidedly one-sided.
Washington's streets sprang up as if jolted to life by the threat of racists invading this city. They would have none of it.
We are not afraid!
Police, though, had no choice, under orders to keep white nationalists safe as they headed to their rally.
To get your message across, do you feel comfortable associating with neo-Nazis today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sure, they're not the, they've been maligned in the media, but we're not the Nazis of the 1930s.
This is what democracy looks like.
A few blocks away, counter-protesters came in far bigger numbers, chanting louder.
To me, it's sad that we all have to even come out and do this kind of thing. But this is 2018.
That racist crap has got to stop.
This crowd eager to show Americans oppose racism. Problem is, the man at the top, they say, promotes it.
I think they feel at home because of this administration. I'm not saying that white supremacy is something new to Trump.
What message does it send to have white supremacists rallying across the street from the White House?
That's a very good question. They kind of go together, don't they, right now?
Sure, this rally had a lighter tone, but some were in no mood for laughs. The masks and bandanas a sign there was trouble brewing. Across the street from the White House, the white supremacists marched in. Only about 20 of them. They expected up to 400.
Obviously, this in a perfect world, everybody would arrive on time.
Except their big crowd never came. Leaving those masked troublemakers to let out their anger in the rain with no one to fight but the police. In the end, all went home early without last year's violence. Thomas Dagg with CBC News, Washington.
Let's turn now to Calgary and the investigation into the death of a Nigerian man at the Calgary airport. He's being remembered tonight as a dedicated churchgoer with a big heart who wanted to build a life in Canada. He died, though, after an altercation with border officers as he was being deported. Today, Carolyn Dunn spoke to a few of the people who knew him well.
Every Sunday, people come to worship at Evangel Calgary Church. Today, a special prayer for the widow and sons of a fellow churchgoer.
We pray for a peace that passes understanding.
To his church family, Bolonle Allo was the guy always ready to lend a hand. He sang in the choir and attended prayer meetings. His friend, Oyinda Unuibe, says he was so committed to this country, he prayed for Canada with a group of men every morning for 6 months.
And he would wake up 5 a.m. in the morning to pick some around, right, to pray for a few hours before they went out to work.
Allo worked as a taxi driver and was trying to obtain a truck driver's license. He lived in Canada for 12 years, but all his immigration applications were rejected. At his detention hearing, he begged to stay, claiming, "I am a dead man, I have nothing to lose, and I still have some bullets in my body from his life in Nigeria." Allo had said he would disrupt his deportation, and authorities considered that a threat of violence. And so they kept him in custody until his removal last Tuesday. That's when Bola Allo was involved in an altercation with 2 border services officers on board a KLM flight from Calgary to Amsterdam. He went into medical distress and died in hospital. Now his friend is representing Allo's family to get answers.
What happened in detention? What happened when they put him on that plane? What happened when he died?
Allo's pastor, Bob Webster, is left wondering if things could have been different.
I wish I had known that he was being deported and that I could have talked to him a bit about that. It may have helped.
The Calgary Police Service is investigating Bola Allo's death, while his church community goes about planning a service in his memory. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
We'll be back with more special coverage from Fredericton. This may be a small city, but the outpouring of love and support here this weekend has been huge. Complete strangers moved by this tragedy continue to add to this memorial. The tributes for Fredericton a little later on The National.
First, though, the National interview with Gloria Allred, the crusading lawyer at the center of the Me Too movement, and the troubling questions about airport security and screening after a man stole a plane and deliberately crashed it in the U.S.
I'm going to try to do a barrel roll, and if that goes good, I'll just go nose down and call it a night.
Questions tonight about public safety after an airline employee stole a plane on Friday and crashed it.
I was just shocked to see that someone who was so nice, so helpful, and caring, actually, and all of a sudden it just snaps upon us like that.
In a post-9/11 world, an unlicensed pilot in a stolen plane conjures horrifying possibilities. But his own words from the cockpit radio didn't suggest extremism so much as a man who was coming apart. Our Katie Nicholson looks at the implications.
Swooping down through the evening sky, it seemed like a joyride. The F-15s tracking his every move told a different story.
Hey, pilot guy, can this thing do a backflip, you think?
In the cockpit, 29-year-old Richard Russell, known to friends as Bebo, a ground crew worker who somehow managed to swipe this Q400 from the tarmac and take it into the Seattle skies.
I think I'm going to try to do a barrel roll, and if that goes good, I'll just go nose down and call it a night.
After roughly an hour in an apparent suicide, Russell crashed the otherwise empty prop plane into this sparsely populated island in Puget Sound.
We are stunned and heartbroken. It may seem difficult for those watching at home to believe, but Bebo was a warm, compassionate man.
Questions are mounting as to how this could possibly happen.
To our knowledge, he didn't have a pilot's license.
So how was he able to fly a plane?
Man, I played video games before, so I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Veteran pilot Doug Moss says that could be true.
Anyone with experience in Microsoft Flight Simulator or even video games should have enough skill to basically fly the airplane.
Here's how we start the engines. Turn both ignition systems to normal.
Popular video games like this one offer step-by-step tutorials with minute details from the flight deck. The incident also raises grave questions about airport security. Early indications are Russell had no red flags. He passed all his background checks and had been working for the airline for 3 years.
I think the real issue here is mental health and what kind of policies, procedures does the airline have for recognizing mental health issues.
Alaska Airlines says it offers an employee assistance program to all its employees 24/7. It's not known if Richard Russell ever tried to access that program before Friday's fatal flight. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, that Q400 is made by Canada's Bombardier. You probably know it more commonly as the Dash 8. It's widely used in this country for shorter regional flights. It holds a crew of 4 and 76 passengers, and there are some design features which would make it easier to steal than a larger jet craft. The hatch contains its own staircase, so you wouldn't need a separate one to gain entry. And some larger craft also require a tow to get into takeoff position. That wouldn't be the case for the smaller and more agile Q400.
Ahead tonight on The National, we'll bring you back to Fredericton, the small gestures here that really are a show of strength and resilience in the wake of Friday's horror.
And my conversation with Gloria Allred, lawyer and fierce champion for women. That's next on The National.
It took a great deal of courage. In the beginning, many were not believed.
A crusader for women's rights, an advocate for justice and equality, Gloria Allred's legal career has spanned more than 4 decades. And during that time, she's made her mark, representing countless clients in high-profile cases against some of the world's most powerful men. Back in June, I met with Allred at her office in Los Angeles, where many of those reckonings begin and are given a voice. And in this era of Me Too, Allred has her own story. Let's revisit that defining moment that helped make her a fierce champion for women.
There is breaking news in Bill Cosby's sexual assault.
A Pennsylvania jury has convicted Bill Cosby of sexually assaulting
actor Bill Cosby guilty on all counts of sexual assault.
Has been found guilty.
We don't get anything for women. We don't achieve anything unless we are powerful and understand our own power. But we have to be really tough.
I want to show our viewers some dramatic video that we just got in a little while ago.
Upon reading of the first guilty verdict, several of Cosby's alleged prior victims shrieked and shook with joy.
We've got a guilty verdict now. What do you think?
We have a tsunami, baby.
I was so overwhelmed with emotion. I just want to hug them.
I will go away when there is justice for my client. But until there's justice,
Gloria.
I will be relentless in the pursuit of justice.
Gloria, hold on.
Because they deserve it.
Women were finally believed, and we thank the jury so much for that. Bill Cosby, 3 words for you. Guilty, guilty, guilty! Thank you.
Let me see if I can get you an attorney to speak with you. Allred, Moroccan Goldberg.
Hello.
How are you? Good. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ms. Allred.
Okay.
Please, you're going to be right here.
All right, thank you.
I want to now bring in attorney Gloria Allred. She represents 29 women who claim Bill Cosby sexually assaulted them.
He did give quaaludes to some women with intent to have sex, although is whether he's going to testify under oath. And not by a tweet in the middle of the night from the bedroom in the White House.
There's lots of things that critics say about you. Self-promoter, grandstander, media manipulator, sensationalist. Do you understand why people try to label you that way? And
Well,
does it
of
bother
course, there are many people who would like women to be silenced, and they're very, very disturbed by the fact that I help individuals who are not celebrities, who allege that they have been victimized by celebrities, to be heard. And there are people who don't like that because for some reason they may think that only celebrities matter, and maybe they just like the sound of men's voices. I don't know, or maybe there's some other reason. But women's voices matter.
5, 4, 3, good.
You have 2 women, Gloria Allred and her daughter, who have created this campaign, this smear campaign against Mr. Cosby.
My better question for you is, what did Gloria Allred promise these women?
And Ms. Allred, what about the Netflix documentaries? Tell me about those bar claims that you're facing right now in California. Address that. Why are you here
I am not
disrupting
facing any bar investigations whatsoever.
You're not?
No.
I felt like you liked those moments. You live a little bit for those moments. You obviously like debating. You like that back and forth.
I'm not adverse to challenging someone who is an opponent on what he said.
Explain to me this, Ms. Allred. Why did you ask for $100 million?
I'm going to respond. Oh, I'm so glad you asked me. But you need to listen and don't.
I believe that those who do not have a close relationship with the truth need to be challenged because truth matters.
No, we do your own press conference. Thank you, guys.
Because you don't want to hear
You're going to come over in my press conference, and did I disrupt you? Did I disrupt you? Did I interrupt you?
I'm not intimidated by them. I know what is right. I know what the truth is. And I'm not going to stand there and allow any of my clients to be defamed or to be discussed in a way that is not truthful.
It's so tiny. You cram a lot of people
I cram a lot of people in here.
And you typically sit here at this end? And you don't say much. You just sit there. And,
yeah. Well, often they insist that they're not going to cry. They don't want to cry.
Yeah.
They just want to say what they have to say.
Yeah.
But they often end up crying.
Sure.
Because it all comes welling out of them.
I did the right thing for Andrea Constant and for myself.
His behavior was like that of a predator.
I will continue to speak the truth, and I refuse to be intimidated into silence.
He laid next to me on the bed and began.
They're in front of all those cameras, the whole world, recounting unpleasant, painful, traumatic things. Why do you think so many of them do that?
Because they want their voices to be heard.
Yeah.
And many women have decided they don't wish to suffer in silence. And they know the risk, and they were willing to take the risk.
I think a lot of people associate you with cases against celebrities, and they assume you're making tons of money, and that's why you're in it. But when you read your book, you realize the breadth of people that you have represented. People from farm workers to prostitutes to dry cleaning people to...
Right.
So when people say that about you, oh, you're in it for you, you're in it for money, what do you say to them?
I'm in it for justice. And I don't think that my clients should have to choose between principles and being compensated for the harm that they've suffered. Men don't have to make that choice. They can have both principles and the money. I don't have any apology to make for the fact that we are successful, that we've won hundreds of millions of dollars for victims, and we intend to continue on that path.
I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and I'm here today to urge the public.
Today, I'm able to confirm that I will act as her attorney.
Today, we are here with yet another woman.
Today, I'm here with two of my clients.
Thank you very much for coming today.
Can you describe the event that happened when you went to Mexico, the thing that I guess must have changed you in some way?
I met a doctor who asked me out on a date, and I agreed to go to dinner with him. And he said, well, first, if you don't mind, I need to stop at the hospital and see some patients, make sure they're doing okay. I said, fine, I'll go with you. And so we did. And then after that, he said, well, I have one more stop. I have some patients who are no longer in the hospital. They're in a hotel. I need to go there just to check on them and see how they're doing as they're recuperating. I said, okay. And he opened the door, and I walked into the room, and it was empty, and I turned around, and he had a gun pointed at me. And after that, he raped me. And I was in complete shock. I still am to this day. In any event, after I left Mexico and then returned to the United States, then I became pregnant, and then I had a decision to make. And ultimately, I got an abortion. It was not a crime for me to have it, but it was a crime for anyone to perform it upon me. I hemorrhaged, and I went to the hospital. I almost died. I had to be packed in ice. I had 106-degree fever. And then a nurse said to me, I hope this teaches you a lesson. I still don't know what lesson she hoped that it would teach me, because the only thing I learned from it is that it is wrong and dangerous to the lives and health of women for abortion to be illegal, unsafe, unaffordable, unavailable.
Is it hard for you to tell that story? You say you're still in shock about it.
Many women feared talking about the fact they had an abortion. There was a stigma, but I felt that I needed to be truthful, and so I shared that, and that was it. Because a woman shouldn't have to be ashamed.
I'm here today with yet another victim of Harvey Weinstein. Her name is Natasha Malta.
I was sitting on the bed talking to Harvey when he pushed me back and forced himself onto me. It was not consensual. I laid still and closed my eyes and just wanted it to end. I played dead.
I believed in the Cinderella story. I thought I am supposed to look for this guy that is the prince, and then by the age of 26, I'll have babies with him and marry him.
And you'll live happily ever after.
Exactly what I thought.
But it's a fairy tale. It's not the reality. And what we say in the women's movement, you need to become the person you wanted to marry. If you wanted to marry someone who would take care of you and protect you, you need to take care of yourself and protect yourself. For many of my clients, for example, they've come in with little girls' voices that are just kind of trapped in their little girl. And they're adult women. And once they become empowered, they learn their rights, they learn how to assert their rights, they become vindicated when they have asserted their rights, they're rewarded for asserting their rights. Sometimes that little girl voice turns into a full adult woman's voice.
We now have Harvey Weinstein, who I know you're representing one of his accusers, Bill Cosby, Kevin Spacey. I mean, the list is longer than we could have imagined. What has happened, do you think, that this has all started to unfold in this way?
Well, women have just been sick and tired of being sick and tired of being silenced. And they've decided they want to speak out. And they are feeling that if I speak out, it might help other women because there may be other victims of that same perpetrator. And accountability and wanting accountability from perpetrators of rape or sexual assault or sexual harassment is contagious.
Is your work ever over?
No. And it will never be over in my lifetime because women are not equal yet with men. We're not there politically, economically, socially, legally. We have a long way to go. The fight has just begun.
Next on The National, a centuries-old family tradition, tattooing the faithful in Jerusalem's Old City.
For a lot of pilgrims, their visit to the Holy Land changes them in a way and leaves a mark on their soul that they want to leave a mark on their body as well.
There likely will still be some challenging days ahead of us.
On The National tonight, we're watching the worsening wildfire situation in BC. 145 new fires started just yesterday, many of them caused by lightning. That brings the total across the province to nearly 600. Thousands in BC's northwest are now on alert, ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. While conditions are expected to remain sunny and dry this week, temperatures should cool slightly.
The Chief of Staff of the United States, under the direction of the President of the United States, threatening me on damage to my reputation and things getting ugly for me. That's downright criminal.
Well, that's former White House aide Omarosa Manigault-Newman released a secret recording today of her firing by Chief of Staff John Kelly. She was on Meet the Press, and she says she recorded that December conversation for her own protection. Get this, while she was in the high security Situation Room.
I think it's important to understand that if we make this a friendly departure, we can all be, you can look at your time here in the White House as a year of service to the nation.
Omarosa also stood by her claim that she once heard a recording of Donald Trump using the N-word. Her new book, because that's what all this is about, Unhinged, an insider's account of the Trump White House, well, it comes out on Tuesday. Well, for people of faith, a visit to the Holy Land can be so intense, some want to capture it forever, so they get a tattoo. The CBC's Derek Stoffel found a family that's been in the business for centuries. This is a visual treat in tonight's Dispatch from Jerusalem.
The faithful flock to the holy city from around the world. Christians, Jews, Muslims come to the Old City, home to some of the most revered religious sites on the planet. Many search for the perfect keepsake to remember their pilgrimage. But for some, a trinket simply won't do. So they wander down an alley in the Old City looking for something more indelible.
we can buy something and put it up on a shelf, but to have something always with you on your body, you know, it's pretty powerful.
This couple from Indiana ended their journey to the Holy Land at this tattoo shop. Their tattoos were done by Wasim Razouk.
For a lot of pilgrims, their visit to the Holy Land changes them in a way and leaves a mark on their soul that they want to leave a mark on their body as well, to remind them as well as to show to others that they have done their pilgrimage.
Razouk has inherited the family business.
You'll be okay.
His ancestors have been tattooing the faithful for 700 years now. The last 5 centuries here in Jerusalem, the 200 years before that in Egypt.
Done.
Wow.
You happy?
Yes, thank you.
Clients can choose whatever design they want, but most request patterns that the family came up with generations ago.
This one comes from the old stamp that we have, which is 500 years old. People love it.
This one on Wasim's arm, the Jerusalem cross, is one of the most popular.
We have changed, of course, our methods and our tools. However, the designs that we use we still have the old designs, the hundreds of years old designs that are carved in wooden blocks that have been in our family for hundreds of years.
The Razouks are Coptic Christians. The sect that is prevalent in Egypt has a tradition of tattooing children with a cross. But the Coptic community has recently been targeted by Islamist extremists, and it's thought that some have even been attacked after the militants recognized their tattoos. Karen Andrews from Indiana says one reason she got her tattoo is to stand with the Copts, who have been persecuted for their faith.
I have Jesus' mark on me, and I'm going to stand and not be ashamed that that's who I am. If it means my life, it means my life, because he gave his for me, and I just feel so strongly and thankful for that.
It was...
For daughter Jamie, this was an experience of a lifetime.
On the surface, it's just a memory of this experience that we've had together. I can always remember this. If something should happen to one of us, we would always have that memory.
The methods are more modern these days, but the Razouks vow to continue with their tradition of inking memories for pilgrims from around the world. Derek Stoffel, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Next on The National, I'll be back from Fredericton with tonight's moment, one boy's tribute to the 4 lives lost here on Friday.
Late at night as people sleep, you roam your city and protect your streets. To you yourself you whisper, hallelujah.
Obviously, this is a moment to remember the 2 brave officers who fell in the line of duty, and the other 2 victims, and all of their families and the communities that are pulling together, obviously reflecting on this loss.
You date a police officer, they wait until they know you're around for the long haul before you get invited to meet the rest of the family, which is the brotherhood. This would be our first Christmas together. He was the love of my life.
Well, the pain of Fredericton's losses has really struck a chord with a lot of complete strangers right across the country, including a boy in Nova Scotia. He is Joshua Cochran. He's on the autism spectrum, and he's worked really hard to gain the confidence to sing in public. And now he has rewritten the lyrics to a Leonard Cohen classic. His song, In Support of Fredericton, is our moment of the day.
An oath and you took a vow to protect and serve. You made us proud, but you didn't do it for the money. Now did ya? Late at night as people sleep, you roam your city and protect your streets. To
I wanted the police and civilian families to know that I care and understand how hard it is to lose someone you love. I lost my hero in Afghanistan to an IED. I know the hurt and anger you go through after horrible things happen. People need to know we are there for them.
Well, that's one person's tribute, but I know, and I still see them behind you at this hour, Adrian, people coming to that memorial, leaving things behind, and people are manifesting their support in all sorts of ways there, I guess.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Rosie. I mean, you know, you look at some of those tributes and you feel like you're intruding sometimes, so you don't get too close. And then we've been watching people sometimes go to a phone behind me on the wall here because the police station is locked and it's not enough for them to leave flowers. They want to talk to somebody, so they're picking up the phone and they're asking if someone can come out. You know, we've seen a couple today show up with cookies. They just, you know, it's a little thing, right? But it was important to them that they, you know, physically handed that to a police officer. And we've been watching that happen all day long. That really is the National for August the 12th. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Night.